Hide and Seek TV. I'm about to get ready to do a very deep breakdown about the movie called The Cube due to a subscriber, So Mighty B's request. And then I'm going to be covering a lot into this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break down a whole aspect of The Cube. And I want y'all to follow me. So I'm going to play the clip right quick and chime on in. This is the trailer.
17,576 rooms.
You see how they show the aspect of like how the cube brought forth death, you know, via the aspect of fear. And what I want to talk about right quick is a very deep thing, because when you understand the cube anyway, hit the whole aspect of the four corners of the earth. And as we know, remember in the times of the aspect, when you just understand like the whole really, when you really understand what the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve really stands for, you know, not just the that type of doctrine. I'm talking when you really know what this stuff really stand for. But hit the whole aspect of how it says, like, for God doeth know that in that day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So you understand the whole aspect of the cube. The aspect of the cube represents nothing but like the great spiritual death. You feel what I'm saying? And what's so deep about that, everybody heard of Pandora's box. You know how Pandora represents like the mighty secrets, you know, that's, you know, revealing the universal wisdom. Remember that whole aspect of this, you know what I'm saying? And when you understand that too, about the Greek god, you know, Prometheus, which is a very serious thing. Like when you understand what this all derives from, just all blasphemy. Or you remember how Prometheus basically brought forth, you know, wisdom unto man that they didn't know. And then they, you know, basically, he went through the judgment where like the eagle was biting from his, Zeus sent the eagle to bite from his liver and everything of that nature forever eternity. Because remember in the scriptures, as we know, the Most High already said that that the serpent shall lie on his belly and eat dust for all the days of his life. Hint the whole aspect of how man is as dust. And you see the whole aspect of fire, you know, creating dust. But hint that whole aspect of basically just eating flesh and not being able to reach the soul. Just on a simple level, you know what I mean? So you understand this whole aspect, which is serious, because that right there, when you understand the eagle eating from the liver, you know, represents nothing but like the aspect of maintaining the immune system and things of that nature. You feel what I'm saying? So hint the whole aspect of that. You feel what I mean? The whole aspect of basically like destroying the body, the digestion of eating the dust for all the days of thy life. Hint the liver helps with metabolism and everything of that nature. But what I want to talk about is on the aspect of the cube, which is very serious, just to prove my point, because remember, you had the Babel Tower back in that time, you know what I mean, the ancient Babylon. And when you understand the whole aspect of that, that was all representing reaching the eternal godness, you know, reaching a high level of masonry, reaching a high level of godliness. Remember in the Most High, what did he say again in Genesis 11:6? Behold, the people is one, they all have one language, and this they begin to do. Now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. So basically, through the imagination, they can reach becoming a God, and they should reach becoming heaven. You know, reach heaven, my bad. So you see how I said, let us go down, and then therefore confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So let us, you know, us, remember how the Most High said, let us make man in our image. So that represents him and the Messiah, obviously, in that time aspect. You feel what I mean? This stuff is that real, because if you remember about the cube anyway, remember the movie Bird Box? I talked about this a few times on my videos. Remember on the movie Bird Box, when basically when they saw whatever was in that spirit of them, you know what I mean, will hunt them and bring them to a great, you know, spiritual death. So hint how they was seeing demons and they was dying, you know what I mean? All of that represents the aspect of like the spiritual death. This is why she had to have the blindfold and everything going, because all that represented was being blind, you know what I mean? In a sense, walking by faith and not by sight. You know what I'm saying? This is why some people on the film was immune to it, and a lot of the others was just dying out. Just keeping this stuff on a level where you can really catch it, because what I want to show is I was actually playing this game right here the other day, you know, for those who are gamers out there, called Jump Force. I'm pretty sure a lot of people heard of it. And, you know, Prometheus on the game, hint what he does, and I'm going to show and prove my point. You see how he opened the book? Pay attention to this. He forms the cube. Trap you in a cube. then send forth the great destruction. You see how it creates the rainbow, because remember the Most High had a protection that he would not destroy man again by by flood. But hit the whole aspect of the rainbow, because that all represents nothing but like the great destruction being brought down upon you. Just to prove my point about the whole aspect of this cube thing, about the whole aspect of the spiritual death. You see that right there? That stuff that real, y'all. How all of this connects. You feel what I'm saying? And what I want to talk about too is I'm gonna really get real deep on this video, because what I want to show too is the whole aspect of this. When you understand the aspect too of the cube, that all represents nothing but like the Saturn god worship, the god of the cold, of the darkness, of the unknown. Hint the aspect of the cube bringing forth wisdom that make you know of good and evil. You know what I mean? Even though we already cursed to know that now, this is why we have the right and the aspect of decision, and that theme of using the free will to do righteousness over evil. But like the whole aspect of this right here is the cube of Saturn, which brings forth the unknown, you know what I mean? And brings forth nothing but the whole aspect of darkness, leading you into the great spiritual death. You feel what I mean? To where you, as it's written, that ye would not surely die, because you will live on. You living in flesh, but your soul is tormenting. You know what I'm saying? And all of this stuff is that real. This is why on the game Mortal Kombat, they added that new move. You know how Johnny Cage is like the mime. When you understand the whole aspect of miming, being trapped inside the cube. You see the black and the white represent nothing but the aspect of the masonry, the Masonic checkerboard, the black and the white, the checkerboard of the Masons. So when you understand this right here, which is very serious, and I want to show y'all this right quick. Notice how he used the power of the cube to counter. You feel what I'm saying? The whole aspect of the box. You feel what I mean? This is why you had the whole theme of the quarantine and everything going on as well. Because a lot of people are being led into the aspect of the great spiritual death. Hence why they want to literally attack the blood. You feel what I mean? Like I've been talking about the aspect of the great, theme, the shot aspect. You feel what I mean? All of this stuff is that real, y'all. And it's all about who got the eyes to see this and the ears to hear. Because a cube, like I've been breaking it down, obviously the four corners of the earth. You feel what I'm saying? How all of this comes together. Because when you understand it too, the cross forms the cube. When you fold a cross, it becomes the cube in the third dimension. You feel what I'm saying? This stuff is that real, man. Because when you understand the cross, any way that represents what? The aspect of death. You know what I mean? A death rebirth aspect. And then when you understand the cube, when you fold it, that represents nothing but like their world being built on the aspect of the crucifixion. Of you being in the great death. Skull and bones fraternity. You feel what I'm saying? All of this stuff comes together, man. And I really want to show some more stuff too, because it was actually a movie back in the day that came out back in like '09. For those who remember, I actually broke this down on my video with Roddy Ricch. You feel what I mean? With the Roddy Ricch, and it was when I was breaking down about the box. So I'm about to literally play the clip right quick, and I'm gonna chime on in. Just pay attention to this, y'all. This stuff is real, and I'm gonna put that link in here too, because I want y'all to go check that Roddy Ricch. I put a lot into that, a lot of information. But I'm gonna play the clip and chime on in. Pay attention to this. This is all about the box.
Hi, Mrs. Lewis.
Notice her name is Mrs. Lewis. And remember, I've been breaking it down. Her husband on the movie, before I go even further, her husband on the movie, his name is Arthur Lewis, and her name is Norma Lewis. And when you understand that name Lewis, like I've been breaking this down, Lewis comes from what? Lewis stone, the stone that the Freemasons reject to use. The Messiah being the headstone. You feel? That's why the Illuminati pyramid, like I've been showing in all my videos, don't have no headstone. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna show it one more time for those who might not have seen it. But hint the whole aspect of the Illuminati pyramid having no headstone. Because when you understand the food pyramid, remember the bread is at the bottom, and we already know as it's written that man should not live by bread alone, meaning just by knowledge. We have to have full discernment and spiritual understanding. And hint the whole aspect too, because that'll lead us to death, and to pride as well. So you understand like the bottom of the food pyramid, even though I ain't showing, I'm just letting y'all know it's bread, and then the top is oil. So hint the whole aspect of like the Messiah being the oil, the headstone. You know what I mean? And the bread is at the bottom. How they build they build their pyramid on the body, on the bread. You know what I mean? On just wisdom to be gods themselves. I just wanted to just really explain that. That's why her name was Lewis, because this obviously shows that they were playing a Messiah role. And her husband name was Arthur, because when you understand Arthur, like I've been breaking down about Texas being a Lone Star State and Longhorn State, hint the star of Bethlehem Messiah, and him being the horns of salvation. Hint Port Arthur is in the Golden Triangle of Texas. That's why the husband name was Arthur Lewis and her name was Norma Lewis. So I'm gonna play the clip, chime on in, y'all.
Morning, boys. Why does the bus stop have to be in the front of my driveway? So I can watch my little Walter get on the bus in one piece.
Watch this. I'm gonna get right to the point.
Mrs. Lewis, I assume you received the box.
I have an offer to make. If you push the button, two things will happen. First, someone somewhere in the world whom you don't know will die. Second, you will receive a payment of $1 million.
You see the whole aspect of the box, you know, bringing forth death. You feel what I'm saying? This stuff is that real. This is why back in the day, for those who remember, I don't know if many remember, they had this show called The Cube, right? And it was like a contestant show. They just brought it back with D Wade. I'm gonna show that in a minute too. But The Cube, remember, it was created by a guy named Adam. Hint the whole aspect of the atom. Remember when I was talking about the whole aspect of the spiritual death via the cube? You know what I mean? I showed that with the Prometheus attack. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff comes together, y'all, and there's no way around it. I'm gonna show it one more time, because this game, it's all in our face. The word, hint the rainbow. You see what I'm saying? All of this comes together, y'all. But like, it's all about who got the eyes to see and the ears to hear, because they literally want to see us, you know, caught up in this, you know what I mean? Because like I said, how her name was Lewis on the movie, remember their name was Lewis, hint the you know, the Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll with like Alice in Wonderland. And when you understand that whole aspect, Through the Looking Glass represented nothing but like basically them trying to say that they foresaw, you know, the coming of the Messiah, the name, so they can try to use the name for wickedness. Hint the name, like how the Most High already said many should come in his name. Hint Lewis, like I've been breaking this down, Lewis, Charles, Williams, etc. And I got a good video coming. I'm gonna do a Kwame Brown on my third one I got coming. But when y'all on him, but when y'all know about the names Lewis and Carroll, you know, Lewis is a very high level name, because when you derive Yahushua from the Hebrew into the English, it becomes Lewis. Because remember back in the day, you did not have no J. The letter J didn't exist. It was like the letter L. That's why you remember the rapper Ludacris, hint Ludacris, like hint Judah Christ. You know what I mean? Christ of Judah. That's why his name was Ludacris. It was all blasphemy. You know what I mean? And that's why they mean ludicrous, make it seem like it means crazy. It's just all blasphemy, man. And hint the name Carol anyway comes from what? Kara. You know, which don't mean nothing but the anointed one. You feel what I'm saying? So all of this stuff just comes together. Like I said, it's all about who got the eyes to see and the ears to hear. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a clip right quick from Dwayne Wade new show, you know, the remake of The Cube. Pay attention to this.
Do you have what it takes to empty the box?
Empty the box. Who got the power to unlock? Who got the power to unlock the great wisdom?
Q.
Yes, Dwayne.
Start the game.
I'm Dwayne Wade. What?
This is embarrassing.
You can call on me to assist.
We need you to put your 3
Cubic feet of it. I am 2,000 cubic feet of intimidating.
You see what I'm saying? 2,000 cubic feet. Look at Wade's face too while he's laughing. You like, look at his face, man. You know what I mean? But I just want to really keep this thing flowing, man, because this stuff is real. Because what I want to show too about the whole aspect, I forgot to mention about how the cross becomes the cube. Pay attention to this right here. This is from a show called Family Reunion with Tia. I did a whole, like, 3-4 part series on them girls, Tia and Tamara. But this is from her show called Family Reunion. I'm going to play the clip, chime on in. You see how he said how his name is Isaiah. Just listen to him. Notice how he's standing on top of the cube, because when you understand Isaiah anyway, that foretell, the prophet Isaiah foretold the prophecy of the Messiah coming forth. You know what I mean? And the whole aspect of the kingdom being brought forth. Listen to what this guy says. I'm the chief rocker. Remember I said how the whole aspect of the Illuminati pyramid, the stone. You know what I mean? Look how they get these kids these roles, man. You know what I mean? It's so sad, Hint the whole aspect of like being trapped inside the cube, the pyramid, Illuminati pyramid. You know what I mean? Let's listen to this some more. Mozzie, that's me. Mozzie don't mean nothing but like the rod. So notice how he was standing on top of the cube and he was blowing the horn, because that's all blasphemy, how the Messiah, you sound off, you know what I mean? The whole aspect of his voice being heard. It's just all blasphemy. His voice is like the great trumpet. You know what I mean? The great warning. You feel what I'm saying? The Walters. All of this stuff just all blasphemy, man. The whole aspect of the cube. All of this to lead us into spiritual death. And what I want to show right quick too, and I'm going to play the clip right quick, is from the song called The Box by Roddy Ricch, which is high level understanding, because this, remember, right after the song came out, that's when the big quarantine happened. Pay attention to this. Notice how he's in the mud too. I'm going to show that later.
Out the mud. There's nothing you can tell me.
See how he said, I got this out the mud. There's nothing you can tell me, because all that represents, remember, the Messiah being what? The aspect of being a sacrifice, being killed aspect. Hint this whole thing. I'm going to show this right quick about the mud, and I'm going to chime on in. Just pay attention to this. Notice how he's eating the pie. You see how he's digging as he's eating the pie, how it's showing him digging, because that represents him eating the bread of life, eating the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is crazy how they literally have to do that to enjoy, their riches, because you have to indulge in blaspheming the Holy Spirit so that you can be as the chief rocker, Chief Mozzie, standing on top of the stone. You feel what I'm saying? Like all of this comes together, man. There's no way around it.
Yeah, when I had a job, South Street wealthy. Yeah, I had the coupe at the lot. Told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT.
You see what I'm saying? Because you see how he said F12, F SWAT. Remember the aspect too of like how they gonna try the Messiah it's all blasphemy. Cause you remember the Messiah is gonna reach the top of his altar. And that's why he's saying F12, F SWAT. Because if you remember the movie Black Panther, remember how Killmonger knocked down T'Challa off the top of the rock and threw him down. I'm gonna show it right quick, just to prove my point right quick. This right here is just an action scene from it, but like you see, because they ain't gonna do it but flag it. But you see how he like basically was beating him up, and then but anyway he threw him off the cliff. You know what I'm saying? He literally threw him off the cliff, and then he like knocked him off the rock, and Killmonger became the king of the throne. But you remember how they brought T'Challa back? You remember how they had went under and they went there and brought him back? The mama, the sister, and the girlfriend, and they brought him back so he can take the throne back from Killmonger. That's their whole aspect of their imagination of wanting to swat the Messiah, from being at the top of the altar. Hence why Roddy Ricch said, F SWAT. And his name Roddy Ricch anyway, the whole aspect is the rod of the Messiah. You know what I mean? It's rich, it's wealthy. Just all blasphemy, man.
Busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box.
Put the stick in the box. Hint that's the rod of the Messiah inside the box. Hint the whole aspect of them reaping, in this whole thing that we're in, man.
Pour up the whole damn field. I'ma get lazy.
You see what I'm saying?
I got the mojo deals. We been trapping like the 80s.
We've been trapping like the 80s because hint the trapping, all that goes back to what? The whole aspect of what I was talking about earlier, the box, being trapped. Remember during the 80s they attacked the blood with the crack rock. You feel what I'm saying? And notice why everything going on now, they want the blood. You know what I'm saying? Aspect shot. You know what I mean? Just keeping it simple. So when you pay attention to this, this goes back to, it's us being overtaken by the box, man. Overtaken by the cube, the Saturn energy. You feel what I'm saying? All of this comes together. While on the show, them, like I just showed how he was eating the pie, aka bread of life. Notice why who he is reminiscing on was about the man who was basically going through the burning. You know what I mean? The aspect of the gas chamber, being trapped inside the box. Because Satan is as what? Remember how I said it? The Messiah shall look as if he was burnt inside of a furnace. Hint why he's inside of the box, the chamber. And what I want to show too, right quick, just to prove my point, on the show Family Reunion with Tia Mowry, you see how the little boy who was saying that he's on top of it, he's the chief rocker, that he was standing on top of the cube, on top of the box. Notice how he was holding the apple, and then when you look at it, hint the fruit aspect, you know what I mean? And then notice how the little boy right beside him got his legs crossed, and it looked like a pyramid. If you really put where the eye is at, you see the letter I. You see how it's literally shaped like a pyramid, you know what I mean? So all of this stuff is all in our face. Hint I am. You know how all the singers and them always got these albums called I am. You know what I mean? Because they trying to say that they are the most high. That they are a God now. Hint why it's right there on the pyramid. The eye is right over the pyramid with his legs crossed. And when you understand the legs crossed anyway, all that comes from anyway is the whole aspect of what? The skull and bones fraternity with the cross legs. I just want to just show this. It's this deep, y'all. And like I said, the kids are like told to do these things, you know what I mean? Because they just playing a role. You feel me? And the kids are, and these people, you know, even like the average actor, a lot of them just playing a role. You know what I'm saying? But most of them know, like Tia knows. You know, the two ladies like Loretta Devine and them in the back, they know. You know what I mean? The Shaft. You see, that was Shaft in the back that she's holding on. He knows. Hint Shaft. Come on, Shaft, aka the Rod. Come on, y'all. And just to prove my point, some more about the box, the cube. Remember on the movie Saw, I got a breakdown on the movie Jigsaw. Remember on the movie Saw, your head was locked up inside of like that box, you remember? And you had to have the key to open it, because remember, as it's written, that you should have the key. That's why they used to be all bloodied up once they got out of it, because remember, to open up to come into your to living, you know, you had to go through hell. You had to go through tribulation. Like all of this stuff is that real. Notice why they used to have to weigh, you know, arms and legs and everything on, you know, in order to enter the next, you know, the next stage, because all that represents the aspect of, like, you know, the aspect of you know how the Most High say, detest anything that's basically unbalanced to him is abomination. You know what I mean? Hit the whole aspect of weighing things to see who's able to enter. Your good outweigh your bads. Just keep it simple. Like, I really just want to show this because this all is in our face, y'all. And it's just all about, like, we got to be aware of these things, you know what I mean? What they're showing us. And not what they're showing us, because we got to remember who's in control. The Most High is in control. You feel me? And when you look at the box anyway, the movie called The Cube, notice the imagery right behind him, like you're climbing through the shaft. You know what I mean? You see that pyramid? Look at that right there, man. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. You see that whole aspect of the pyramid? That's like the Messiah reaching the altar, man. Remember when I was talking about how they literally want to how they literally try their best. Let me just pull it up right quick. How they literally try their best to try to make sure that the Messiah don't reach the top of the altar. Hint the whole aspect of why that looked like a shaft in the back. You know, like the shafts are entering the pyramid, entering the top of the altar. This is the whole aspect of what these Masons do, man. No headstone. Like, it's all in our face. But I'm actually going to end that right here. Continue to leave subscriptions. I mean, not subscriptions, my bad. Continue to leave requests and continue to subscribe. That's how I meant to say it. My fault, y'all. That was kind of late. I want to just get this stuff, let y'all know what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm about to get ready to keep bringing more videos out on y'all. But thank y'all for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming. Peace.